Today is Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. It is also day 400 of web development. And today I'm going to go into Spline, create a 3D model just like I did yesterday. And I'm going to try to do something like this, which is what I did yesterday. So this is the landing page I did yesterday with the 3D model here. That's kind of, it's responsive and whatever this is. And yeah, it's a little off, like the layout. Like obviously it's like to the left and to the bottom, which is really weird, so I'll have to work on that. But the point is just really to focus on Spline and getting that into the page. So I'll click on new file, and again, I just started yesterday, so I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll see. Let me I even forgot how to delete. I'm like using X as like just like I do in Blender. So cut. Oh, control. I don't even know. Okay. So first things first, background color. So I have this color palette. Not sure. Maybe I want to use this one. Or maybe I just want to use white because that's what I'll use on my screen. And then I'll start with creating a shape. So let's see. I love the helix. So I click on helix and just click on anywhere. And then I believe there's some properties that I can change. So I can change the size of it. Or I guess, oh, that's the revolution. What about the size? I don't know, never mind. So the revolution, how many of them are there? Just super cool. And then I could have like that and like slightly curved, which is really nice. So that's really nice. And then I could also increase the thickness of it. Super cool as well. So let me do a little bit something like that. So 27. I don't know what paths sides does. And then corner apparently adds like bevel to the corner. So I'll do that. And let's see what else. I could start with the color. So I'll just select this color. Oops, wrong thing. Okay, color over here in the material and then just paste that in there. So that does that. And there's a lot of lighting, which is different. Oh, and to navigate, I press Alt and then well, that's to orbit. I believe Shift is to Shift, and then middle mouse button also does the same thing as Alt and the right and the left mouse key. All right, to add another shape, I wish I could just, why is there so much lighting? Can we decrease that lighting? Oh, never mind. All right, so I'll just add another shape regardless. Let's do, um, maybe, I love cylinders. I could do a cylinder. And I can rotate it. I just never know which side to rotate it, so that would be good. Maybe make it a little smaller. Do I know how to do that? No. So, look. Oh, nope, that's not what I want. Something like this would be good, just a little smaller. Something like that, maybe. And just decrease the size of it. I would go to front view, reset the view, so that's how it's gonna end up looking like. So maybe just move it a little bit like this and then rotate it this way. Let me get a color and go to colors down here and go to little box here, scroll down, paste that. Oops. Paste that in there. All right. So that's one thing. I may want to have the swirl spline. What is it called? Swirl? I don't even know. Darker color, so let me change that. So that's a little bit better for me. And then let's see what properties. There's corners, so it makes it kind of like a pill-like shape, which is pretty cool. So I could do that. The bottom, okay, so that's interesting. It's like a little balloon type of shape. Oh, I can do balloons then, is what I'm hearing. Okay, I think that's interesting. Oh, and you can even not have like caps, which is pretty cool. Okay, and then hollow. Whoa, that's interesting. That's really nice. That's really, really nice. I'm gonna leave it like that then. Let me go back to reset view and then let me add another shape. So add, let's see what other thing I could do. I could do a cube. cube is a pretty popular one. Rotate it maybe with this axis here. Oops, I don't know what I just did. Okay, just shrink it a bit. And then maybe just bring it a little bit like this. Bring it a little bit like this. Kind of decrease the size in there. Kind of make it a little larger this way. There we go. And then a little smaller that way. Or not. Okay, there we go. And then I think that's good. And then let me just get another color. So I'll start with this color here and go to the color and just paste that in there. All right, so that's one thing. And then for another shape, maybe this like blue color I'll add. What would be another shape? A sphere could be something promising. And then I could just have that here. And then go to colors and then paste that in there. All right. Oh, that could be there. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right, so that could be something there. Right there. Pretty cool. Maybe shrink this a little bit. All right, and that's it. I think that's what I'm gonna end up with. Now for the animation. So if I click on this, I literally forgot what it's called. It's a let me add, it's what is it called? A helix, right? So if I click on the helix, I can go to the right over here and click on state and add a state. So base state is its original position, and then the state that I have now is basically if I were to move it, or maybe just let's say if I were to rotate it, which way is it? Green. Kind of rotate it this way, that's the animation that it's going to go. So if I go back to base state, it's going to go back to its original position. So now if I go to state, it's going to go back to the position that I just moved it to. And then to kind of control this and like when this happens, you click add event and you go to start. So you can either choose it to happen when you start, when you hover over it. So if I do start and let me just say run it, you'll see it just automatically starts doing that as a screen just starts, right? As you just get onto the screen. But I tried yesterday to get this to be get this state when I hover over it, and for me it didn't work. So let's see if it works now. No, which is really weird, and I'm not sure why that is. What affects that? I could go into more detail here. I could do spring and then maybe repeat, play. No. So I guess that's not going to happen, but no. All right, whatever. I'll just leave it to be on start. Where is the start? Oh, it's at the top. Okay. So back to no. And then I'll just do the same thing for all of them. So I'll add another state. So then I'll kind of maybe rotate this way. And then have that be when it starts, have that happen when it starts. Add another state for the cylinder, and then have the cylinder maybe rotate this way. And then have that be when it starts as well. And then this one have another state. This might be rotates, like that doesn't even make sense. Maybe this way, and then add an event, start, and then if I play it, I see that happening. And I barely see anything happening with the thing itself. What do you call it? The little circle, the sphere. So I guess I'll have to maybe move it up and down so that I can get some sort of effect. And move it upwards too would be great. Maybe something like that. Okay, that's a little better, I guess. Right, and then on to the easy part, which is exporting. So now I can export, and I can export as, well, in Codepen, I don't really need fancy things. I just need the embedded, so I could just copy this, right? That's literally it. I don't really have to export anything. Now onto the web development part of this. I'm gonna go to Codepen. Whoops, okay, that's the wrong thing. How do I go back? All right, click on new, and today is day 400. Okay, so, ew, why is it this way? Um, this way, beautiful. I'm gonna label it day 400, web dev. That's not how you spell dev, really. Okay. And then just to kind of do my boilerplate, so doc types so that my browser knows that I'm typing or I'm writing in HTML5, put in my HTML tags, and then put in my two main tags, which are my head and body tags. Let me just control plus to kind of zoom in a bit here. And then head tag, and then closing head tag, if I could spell head, and then body tag, and then closing body tag. That's not how you spell body. Okay. And then I would, inside the body tag, just paste that frame in there, and then I should be able to see that pop up on my screen, which is super cool. But then I noticed that it's very like cut off and things. So to kind of get a better visual of what I'm looking at, I can just target the iframe in the CSS. Because it's an element, I could just do iframe without any extra stuff. And I could just give it a border of 5 pixels, a solid line, black border, so I could actually see what's going on. So there we go. And so obviously what I need to do is just give it a bigger height, a larger height, and that's what I'll do. So I'll do height and maybe just play around 500 pixels and see what that gives me. So there we go. Now I can see it fully. And not only that, but I can also interact with it. So the bigger it is, the bigger I can see. I can move it around, which is super cool. And yeah, so that's that. Now on to incorporating it into an actual page. I'm not even sure if I want to do that. Okay, so I'll do div class container because I want everything to be inside a container. That's not how you spell container. All right, and then have this be here. And then inside the container, I'm going to have a showcase, or not a showcase, but maybe just something like a wrapper where my content is going to go. So wrapper. And the wrapper is going to include the iframe and also a div that's called content, which is going to include like the heading and like a button or stuff. And then I'll do H1 and then H1. Now let me kind of, I know there's this site. Hold up, let me find it. All right, so this is the site that I was interested in. So it's kind of like a copyright example, and it just gives you like inspiration of what to do because I never know what to actually say because I'm just making things up all the time. So this is a good thing just to kind of practice. So I think I'm gonna do something like this. We find you amazing like 3D models that cost 80% less than, I don't know, and like what am I gonna say? Less than the average? Or maybe that's not a good idea. Understand how users are really experiencing your site without drowning in numbers. It's like having, I don't know, 3D mod. Maybe I'll do like get the new, like look at 3D future, the new 3D future, or the future is in 3D. Oh, got it. The future is in 3D. Okay, so I'm gonna do the future is in 3D. And then what I'll do is have like um oh, maybe this could be like a newsletter site to sign up for a newsletter. Perfect. Okay, the features in 3D, and I'll do a paragraph. Sign up for our weekly newsletter um, to stay up to date. To stay up to date on 3D. I don't know, on 3D what? On 3D news? That sounds boring. On 3D breakthroughs. Yes. If I could spell throughs. Okay. And then I'll do like a form. So I'll do form, and then I'll have an input in there. So I'll do input, and then I think I don't need a closing tag. And then I'll just do type email because I want them to put their email in there. And then the placeholder, I'll set that equal to just say email. And yep, that's it. And then now onto the CSS. So I'm just gonna go here and give the content itself also a border. So I'll just paste that in there. And then not only that, but I'll give the container. Honestly, I'll give everything a border. That's what I always do. When in doubt, give it a border. So container and then dot wrapper, also give it a border. Just change the colors a bit so that I could actually see what's going on. So maybe purple, maybe brown, maybe green would be good. All right, so currently the container is the black. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of any default margin and padding that there is. So I'll do margin 0, padding 0, and then I'll do box sizing, border box, so that when I give it like a div of padding, it doesn't how do I say this? It stays the same width and height and the padding would go inside, like it would just fit the content inside so that the padding is applied. Does that make sense? So it won't like change the width or height of the div, but it will just instead kind of squeeze the content inside so that you still have that padding and your div stays the same size. That's like my summary of it. That might not be 100% correct, but whatever. We'll get to it. So now I want the content, which is the green, and my iframe to be side by side. And so what I'll do is I'll go to its container, which is a wrapper, and give it a display of flex, and that's going to make the wrapper a flex container. And by doing that, there is this property called flex direction, which is automatically by default set to row. And so it's moving anything that's inside the flex container, which in this case is the wrapper, to be on the same row. And so that includes the iframe and the content. So I'll just delete that because that by default, that's what it already is. And then within the content itself, I would want the stuff to be in the middle also or centered. So I'll do display. Why am I writing that again? Flex. And then there's these because again by default it's set to row, I would actually have to overwrite that and set it to direction, not direction, column. So that they're on top of each other again. And then what I really want to do is use these flex properties called justify content center, which is going to center my stuff horizontally, and then align items centers it vertically. Yeah. So then at that point, maybe I don't want it to be weird. Okay. Anyway, I could go to the content H1 and just give that a width of maybe 300 pixels so that it kind of goes to the next line. Or maybe I don't want that. I just want to see how it looks like. I definitely want to assign the font size. So let me do font size, 8 vertical minimum. That's going to allow it to be responsive and to size according to the screen size. So now definitely this could increase to something like 400. The feature is in 3D. Could be something so cool. Let me just go and add a period at the end there. So yeah, that was bothering me. Okay, let me just open up debug mode to see it that way. I would want the container to have a height and width of 100% of the screen, or maybe just 100 VH, and then width 100 WH. Reload. All right, so now the container's all the way at the bottom. So then I would want the oh, you know what I could do? I could center. Wow. Okay, I could do display flex to have every like the wrapper also be in the middle. So flex, and then make sure I change this to flex direction again, column because I want them to stay in the same like thing, same column. Because right now the wrapper is the flex item within the container, and then just do justify. Actually, just align item center, and that's going to move it downwards. Or not. Okay, great. Let me reload. Why is it the opposite? Am I mixing them up? Justify content center. All right, there we go. And then definitely make that way bigger than what it is right now. I'm just trying to see how I would do that. So let me start with the content itself and then just do everything else. So the form itself is that little email box. So I could give it a height of 100% and see if that would do something or not. Okay. How about 80 pixels? Why does it go? Oh, because I'm giving it a, I'm so dumb. I meant a width. Oh, it's not the form, it's the input. What is going on with me today? Input 100%. There we go. All right, and then the height could be something like 60 pixels. That's way too much. 20 pixels. That's way too little. 30 pixels. Sure. And then I could do, let's say, margin bottom, so that there's space between the heading and the paragraph, 20 pixels maybe. And then do the same thing for the paragraph. So I'll do dot content P and do margin bottom 20 pixels. And I forgot one thing. I forgot to add the button. So let me go back over here after the form and just do an A href that leads to nowhere. So it's a link. And I'm going to say submit. Oops. All right, so leave that there. And that works that way. I could go and give it an ID of button. So ID equals BTN. So then now I can target it over here. So I can do hashtag because in ID, you target with hashtags in CSS and classes you target with dots. So BTN, and I can give it a background of like one of the colors from here. If I could just find them somewhere, that would be great. Maybe this one, maybe. So I'll do hashtag, paste that in there, give that a padding of 10 pixels top and bottom, and then 10 pixels top and bottom, 20 pixels left and right, and then give it a certain width. So how about 80 pixels? See what that, okay, perfect. And then I think that's weird. That's weird. All right, text align center, so it's at the center. And then text decoration, none. Color, white. Text decoration and remove the underline, and then the color is just the color of the text itself. And then I guess I could do 90 pixels. I just wonder why it's looking like that. Okay, I guess that's fine. And then for the input itself, I would also do a margin bottom. Honestly, can I just do PH1 and then input? There we go. And I can just get rid of this and I don't have to repeat that again. And then the features 3D, let me see what that's looking like here. All right, so that's what I have so far. And then I can do that. I don't know if I want to leave it this small or maybe just increase the width of the, what do you call it? The, what's the purple? The wrapper. So I could do maybe with 70% of the container. So then how about 100% of the container? Right. And then height 100%. And then reload. Whoa, what happened? Oh, it's because, ah, okay. And then let's see. So that would be another problem. So then the iframe would have to be within another div for me to figure this out. And then maybe not, let me just do, how about 80%? Reload. And then definitely increase the font size of H1, so like 10. Oops, and then increase the width, so it's kind of equivalent. The feature is in 3D. Sign up for a weekly newsletter, blah, blah, blah. Submit, and then I would have to make another div to move this down a bit. Or I could just move it down myself with positioning, but I feel like that would be weird. Not weird, but eh. I could just, where's the iframe? I could create a div, give it a class img, and then just paste that. Not paste it, just finish that div. And then wherever this was, let me just do .img up here and give this that so I could look at that again. And then did I do something wrong? Let me look. Class img, right? Then why is it like this? Oh, because that's why. What just happened? Oh, there we go. All right, let me just do the same thing over here, paste that in. Oops, okay, everything's going all over the place. So brown, and then let's do yellow so I can see the distinction. All right, so that's the IMG. Actually, hold up, brown, let me leave that to its original. All right, and then that's the iframe. So then the IMG would have a height of, let's say 100% of whatever container it's in, which is the wrapper. The width, 100% of the wrapper. That's weird. The width is 80%. So let me see. So then that's a new issue. Let's see. So the width, instead I could control it to be 800 pixels. See what that gives me? Well, that's too much. 300 pixels, 500. All right, that's about that value. That's not even good. You know what? Maybe it was better for me to just, yeah, let me get rid of this. Let me go back to what I had. Wait, hold on. I had a height of 500 pixels. Okay, so then let me go back and delete that div over here, and then just simply go back to what I had. All right, and then I'll just simply go to the iframe and give it a margin from the top. Well, if I do margin bottom, it would move it to the bottom, margin top. So let's do 50 pixels to move it downwards, and then just keep doing that until I like what I see. So that works. Maybe 230, be a little upwards. And then I think that's good. I could always zoom in. The height, though, could be a lot bigger than that. Well, then let me, you know what? What if I do 100? It's already set as 100% though. So let me get rid of this, and maybe that's what was the problem. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. All that for what? All I had to do was set the height to 100%. Like, I don't know why I had it as 500. All right, so that works out that way. And then zooming in would be good. And then if I just do this, it's a little eh. So when I do this, I would like it to be responsive. So in order to fix that, I would actually go to the wrapper and give it a flex wrap of wrap so that it wraps around. There we go. When it hits like some sort of like width that it's not. There we go. Then it's way too big. That's weird. How would I fix that then? Because now it's wrapping even when it's like not necessary to wrap. Is it because I don't have this fixed, like a, what do you call it, a fixed width? The container could be height. I know that the height could be min content now, so reach all the way towards the end. That's weird. So then it can't be min content because it's relative to. Oh, let me get rid of the wrap then. And then that's good for now. Let me go to Google Fonts, just get some fonts here. I always use the same fonts, honestly, for these practice sessions. But apparently today I don't have them saved. So it's Roboto, not Roboto. What is it? Is it Roboto? I don't even remember. I think it is. So let's see. Roboto slab. And I'll just go and get the regular 400, add that to my little cart, and then also add Lado, if I could find it. So let's do Lado or Lado, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Regular 400, add that, copy the links, and then go back to my Codepen, go to HTML, and put that within my head tags. And that's going to basically, when I use my CSS rule for the font family, it's just telling CSS where you got that font from. So CSS knows to like where to look for it. It's like citing your sources on a research paper in English class. Like you know where your teacher's going to know where you got that information from because you cited your source. Same thing. Like CSS is looking where you got that font from because and the way that you cite it is putting it in your head tags within your HTML. All right, so I'm just going to copy the Roboto slab and then go to, let's see, content H1 and just paste that font family rule in there. And then you'll see that change. And then I'll also do the same thing for the paragraph. And then even for the input, but I think I'll have to individually change the input. So I could do input and then placeholder, because I know it's an attribute, and then just paste that in there and maybe see if the font changes or not. Okay. Let's see. I can't even tell if it changed or not. Whatever. So that's one thing, and then the other thing would be the button. So that would be the Lado font. And let me go back here and just paste that in there for the button. So that changes, really nice. And then I'll also do a hover effect. So BTN hover, when I hover over it, I want the background color to change to a slightly darker shade. So I'll go here and just go to the shader and just take like 2 shades darker and just paste that in there with a hashtag, not a 3, a hashtag. And then semicolon, and then when I hover over it, it should turn a darker shade, which it does. Beautiful. And then let me reload, and this is what I have. So I can zoom in, I can, you know, move the little thingies, the 3D models, and as you know, the start, like when it starts, if I reload every time I reload, it starts with the animation. I do have to figure out a way to get the hover to work, like when I hover over them to do its thing, but currently that's not working. Let me try to see if I could change the font size of the placeholder. So input placeholder, font size 40 pixels, see if that works. Okay, there we go, beautiful. So let me do, whoops, too much. 20 pixels, maybe 10 pixels. Whoa, that's not good. 15. I think that's what I had in the beginning, but whatever. And then maybe this did work and I just didn't notice. Yep, I still don't see a difference, but whatever. Or maybe it's already like that. You never know. All right, and then I could just put my email in there, right? gmail.com, and then that's it, which is pretty cool. Save, reload. So that's good. And then now let me just start getting rid of um the borders. So I'll go to the top, get rid of the border, border of the wrapper, border of the iframe, border of the content. And that's literally it. Save, reload, and this is my kind of final results. I would want to move it a little bit more towards the right. So, or maybe I want to move this more towards the right. I could move it towards the right if I just, oh, there we go. Beautiful. I could like shift and select just like if I were to do it on Spline, I could do it here. Super cool. Really, really cool. It's really nice. All right, that's it for today. So email, the features in 3D, sign up for our weekly newsletters to stay up to date on 3D breakthroughs, and then I might want to add a period there. And then that's it, submit, and that's pretty cool. All right. I'm like in love with this, so pretty. All right, that's it for today. Bye.